Thank you guys so much for coming to our archived library. You know you get the same informative, funny, and uplifting entertainment. Only difference is we're not live.
You know, that's what my wife says about me. Da-dum-bum.
Okay, that's the last straw. From now on, this is going to be the Cindy Cochran Show with occasional guest Mark Hader. How do you like them bananas?
You know, Cindy, you're trying to make people think we don't get along, and that is so untrue.
Oh, I know, Mark. But people like controversy. Controversy for the lack of... I know, Mark, but people like controversy. Controversy for the lack of a better name. Draws in listeners.
You know, so does the smell of popcorn.
I have no idea what that means. Why am I not surprised? Hey, where are you going?
To the microwave. I suddenly have an urge for a bag of Orville. You know, that's the effect you have on me.
Ew. Okay, with that in mind, let's listen to this.
It's Mark and Cindy on the radio, 10 to 11 a.m. Well, it's Mark and Cindy, they've got a morning show. Every day I listen in. We're gonna talk about what's going on in town. You never know who's gonna come around.
Thank you, Jared Starrett, for that theme song. Good morning, everybody. Woo, Mark.
Better to hear the show when I'm actually here.
I'm so glad you're here.
Not that it wasn't great while I was gone.
Sure, thank you. Yeah, right.
Improvement.
You are listening to the Mark and Cindy Show. Mark Hader, Cindy Cochran, and we are broadcasting live, finally live, both of us here live, out of downtown Conroe, Texas, on the internet, Lone Star Radio show. So when Richard is in the house, making sure we sound wonderful.
Oh,
and
we
have
do.
all the great things. And,
Cindy, what, I missed actually
lot of stuff.
4 episodes, maybe 5 episodes. I was sick.
I know.
I was really sick. How about you?
And then I followed up right after. I was only here a couple of days last week,
Yeah.
and then I got sick. And we've just had this passing the sickness around at
Yeah.
our house, and finally today, and it's a beautiful day to be well.
It's a one.
Here.
You know, it's just a blessing that global warming thing came back. I thought it was gone after listening to the show too. That we did not have this to worry about. Now
Richard
we're
thought,
just-
okay, here comes Cindy's agenda,
No.
and Mark's not here. But I
Yeah.
just thought it was a pretty funny, the irony of the whole thing, of the story of the scientists getting
Well,
stuck
I
in the
didn't even know
ice.
they were scientists. I thought
52
they were
of
on a
them.
tour bus, not a tour bus, but a tour boat, a Russian boat that takes them there, and they were going to see the pelicans and the penguins. And I know
Yeah.
talk radio mentioned that they were all scientists. I didn't know that. I never saw any report that said that, but I'm sure it was.
No, I did read. I did read. Make sure that it, and I had the receipt and all that to make sure that it was 52 scientists that were out to explore effects of global warming there, and they found it. So anyway, it was so much fun to talk about, and I sure wish you'd have been here.
I do too. Did you?
Did you
catch on
throw
the
rocks at
news?
the computer or anything?
No, I steamed a while, but they're having the worst summer in Australia. Australia's burning down. I mean, they've had so many forest fires, and they fear that the Russians are actually scared, if you can believe that there won't be any snow in the Caucasus. It's a very unusual thing for them not to have snow now for the skiing
for
thing.
the skiing
Yeah.
thing.
Anyway, once again, it's
That may bring
global
Al Gore.
and
That may
whether-
bring Al Gore back out of the
I hope
shadows.
so. I hope so.
But anyway, we have so much to talk about. So many things that had happened, but there's so many things that are going on now, and we're trying to investigate a mystery. We don't know if this is true or not, and maybe our listeners can help us out, and they can either Facebook us or call in and
Is
tell
this
us.
a tease or is it coming later?
This is what we're going to be asking for help for this investigation and finding out, is this true or fake? Okay. So that will be coming up.
Cool.
And what do you have coming up?
Well, I hope you've got more than that. I've got local news
No,
stuff.
I've
It's
got-
fascinating. I've got football, and you've got our sports guy maybe coming
Hopefully
in
Jimmy's
or
going to be
talking.
Jimmy the Greek Cirillo calling in.
And Cindy, I was reading stuff about technological things. You know, they had a a technological show.
A convention in Las Vegas?
Yes. They're showing all their inventions, and some of the stuff I just wanted to kick myself in the rear, but it would have hurt me even trying. I don't belong on this planet because of all the stuff they've got now. It scares me. Anyway, I like to talk a little bit about stuff like that.
Don't be scared. I mean, it's going to be okay.
I hope so.
You'll learn eventually. And Richard's setting up classes for people 45 and older to learn what's going on and staying up with technology. Wow. And in fact, he's been working today to get us visual. I hope he's not disappointed once he goes to all this trouble to get us visually on YouTube.
I think if he had who's the anyway, one of those guys that was on the Golden Globes last night, sitting where I'm sitting, he'd probably like it better. You're super, but for video, I don't. I've got a good radio voice.
Oh no. I've got the weight for radio. But anyway, there's a lot of things going on, and I want to talk about the Chris Christie thing. Now I know everybody's heard so much of this; they're sick to death of it. But I've got what I'm upset about and angry about. I haven't heard anybody else talk about, but we'll get into that. And also, they've finally found, they think, a way to make Congress work.
Son of gun. Okay, I can't wait for that.
It may be the last straw, but they think they found a way, and we want to talk about that. So, anyway, this weekend, took the kids to the Candy Cane Park. It's Candy Cane Park, right? Not Peppermint Park.
No, it used to be. Oh.
What's it called?
It was Candy Cane Park.
Is it Heritage something? It's the park that's next to the water park and all that. Yeah. Anyway, we call it Candy Cane Park.
I like it.
It's right off of 105, and if you're in the area, it's a beautiful place. And they've updated a lot of the play areas and all. And they have the Heritage Museum is right next to it. Have you been through that museum?
I have not.
Oh, that's like living in New York and you've never been to Grant's Tomb.
They've got great stuff. I even get postcards saying, "Come see us."
Well, you'll think that some members of my family, founded this place because the Cochran name is so,
Hokey
Cochran
smokes.
And the Grogan's Mill, the Grogan's people that helped do a lot of the paper mill work in the Woodlands, put that together, and then they did a lot of stuff in Colorado. And so the Cochran name is very well established, like Cochran's Crossing in the Woodlands and
I
and
never
all that.
associated your roots are deep in this area, or it's
No,
just
but I'm just saying it's the same name, and people think that they'll go like, "Are you one of the Cochrans
Yeah.
from Conroe?"
Kay's related to Pocahontas, by the way.
I have to be very careful. I want to make sure when I do say something and it's just I'm playing, I have to make sure I disclaimer that. So I will always do that. And Mark has his hand raised.
Sydney,
and
I am
Mark.
sorry. You mentioned Candy Cane Park, and this is one of those areas where Hader goes off the wild end. I was writing an end-of-school article in Georgetown, Texas, just north of Austin, and they had a elementary. Oh, it's beautiful. They had an elementary. All the elementary kids got to go to their park there, which was something rock park. But it was wonderful, and I was taking pictures and all, and a girl was hula hooping, and so I took a picture, and she's the cutest girl, and she was hula hooping, and I asked her name, and I submitted the picture. The picture was in the newspaper, in the Georgetown paper, and underneath it said Glenda Hurlbutt. Her last name was Hurlbutt, and I'm not joking.
Mark, are you sure?
I am sure. I took the picture, and then I go ask her name, and Glenda Hurlbutt. No! And I was shocked. The editor apparently had a sense of humor. But anyway, that's my story about.
That's great. That's a great
one of those
story.
weird things.
I'm not making fun. It's probably a great name.
It is a wonderful name for all you Hurlbutts out there. Don't hula hoop,
but with the hula hooping combined with it is what makes it just strange and all. So when you want to talk about your side of the stories, go ahead, and then I'll start on mine.
Okay, let me start in local news. And I do want to hear this other story, movie thing, but I was reading the Conroe Courier this morning, and that was me turning a page, and I saw something that just looked like something I would do. There was this guy. I don't know who he was. I just read it was one of those blurbs about in the news today. This guy was arrested, and here's what he's arrested for. He was driving a company truck. It was apparently a big truck. He ran out of gasoline, and he notified the company that he was out of gasoline. But while he's waiting, he takes a hammer and starts beating the crud out of his truck. The cabbie's
What?
just gone
He's just
berserk.
mad that-
It's like the last straw. Something, you don't know what happened to this man, and maybe he's being paid by the hour, except when his truck's not running.
that's true.
And anyway, the guy from the company shows up, and this guy was so out of touch with reality, he kept beating it. And Cindy, I haven't read this
I'm sure
anywhere, but
alcohol or drugs were involved in this.
I don't know. I think he was just upset. But don't approach a guy who keeps beating something with a hammer.
With a hammer.
He'll tire out.
Yeah.
So the guy didn't approach him, but he did call 911, and the police came and arrested
That
him.
happened. That happened here.
Yeah, it happened in Conroe.
In
And one other
Conroe.
thing, 911 got a call here in the Conroe area, Montgomery County, and so and it hung up. Whoever was talking, this guy hung up. So the police rush over there to the house, and son of a gun, they end up arresting this guy. He was. They arrested him for two things. One was he had outstanding warrants, and the other resisting arrest. And then they tacked on to that calling 911 without name. He's got
What?
outstanding warrants.
I'm sure there wasn't alcohol or drugs
No,
involved
not
in
in
that.
this one.
Okay,
No.
I'm sure.
That's sad. That's
yeah,
so sad.
Yeah, because we've been talking about Colorado and how smart they were to legalize.
Yeah, the marijuanas.
Yeah, the marijuanas, and then when alcohol was legalized, I almost said I remember when alcohol was legalized, but I remember the stories that they had about this, and I read about the stories they had where they thought that now everything would be so much better and people wouldn't drink as much because now it was legal and what they were drinking was going to be better for them because and when you read every story mostly that has to do with violence and stuff, there's got to be one of those things involved. There's a common denominator usually. So I think whenever you add anything else, why would you do that? It's so...
Well, one reason is it's
thinking?
money. Money makes this country
that's
go
true.
round. And when you've got so many people in jail for marijuana usage and you've got so many police arresting these people, you got your prisons overcrowded. I can see where somebody would say legalize it. They're doing it anyway. It's kind of like the 18th Amendment. What they did instantly overnight is they made half of this population of the United States back then, which was 72 million. I just made that number up. They made half the population outlaws because these people drank and all of a sudden the government said you can't do it anymore. That's so much different from saying now we're legalizing marijuana. But it is very debatable, and I am personally in one of those that say the war on drugs isn't working, it hasn't worked, it will not work. So
That's right.
regulate it.
So regulated. So how do you think the government does on regulation? Do you think they do a good job on regulating things?
For the most part, I really, what I would like to do is one thing I noticed is the negativity and all. They've got talk show radio. They've got talk radio people that can talk about politics and all, and I do it too much. And I'm going to, when we come back,
You're gonna
we've got
disdain from that, okay.
something very important involving movie theaters here
we've
on
got
the
an
Mark and Cindy
investigation.
show.
We're going to need you.
And mud wrestling. We got mud wrestling.
Also younger than the sun. Yeah, the bonnie boat was one as we sail into the...
It takes something special to make it in the business world. Montgomery County is fortunate to have a diverse pool of industries and businesses. Join me, Cassandra Roshan, Director of Membership Development with the Greater Conroe, Lake Conroe Area Chamber of Commerce for Mind Your Business. I will sit down with our chamber members to talk history, community involvement, and get some tips of the trade on how to be successful in our current business environment. Tune in on the third Tuesday of each month at 11 a.m. to hear from our members of the Greater Conroe, Lake Conroe Area Chamber of Commerce talk about their professional experiences. I guarantee you will walk away with insight of how to mind your business.
The East Texas Dream Center is in need of your help. We are a nonprofit Christian organization that houses women and children who are trying to get their lives back after being homeless, abused, or addicted. We are conveniently located at 301 South 1st Street, Conroe, Texas, 77301, right here in Montgomery County. Our needs are financial and every needs of gasoline, cleaning supplies, laundry soap, Lysol, and whatever else God puts in your heart. To help our ladies and children, please consider a donation. You may visit our website at www.easttexasdreamcenter.org. Again, so you don't forget, it's www.easttexasdreamcenter.org. Donations are tax deductible. Remember what Jesus said, with God, nothing is impossible.
Do you know what the secret of life is?
No, what?
This.
Your finger?
One thing. Just one thing. You stick to that and everything else don't mean shit.
That's great, but what's the one thing?
That's what you gotta figure out.
I love it. You know what? He can even say the S word, and you wouldn't even recognize it.
I meant to sneeze during that, Cindy. I forgot, but it would have taken away. Cindy asked to locate that, and I did last night. Send it to Richard, and it is.
Cindy, do you not use a computer?
She's got.
Do you just have other people do everything for you?
Of course.
Well, anyway, it is so profound, that one thing, and it goes along with what I had put on Facebook about something we're going to try to continue discussing this week, and we haven't even started yet. And it came as a result of my nephew, Clint Rock. I call him Clint Rock. His name is Clint Ross. Long story behind that, who gives a rat's? Anyway, he sent this little poster that said, if you could write a note to your younger self, what would you say? And on the email, I said, if you could give some advice, some encouragement, or something to yourself, go back in time when you were a child, what would you say? And it is a very deep thing. And if somebody just off the, out of the blue said, hey, Mark, what would you, man, I don't know. I've had time to think about it and might share some things later. But what I would like to hear is, and read from Facebook, if y'all would please Facebook us your thoughts on that, what your words might be to you. In other words, what areas when you were growing up do you wish you had really understood better and might have changed your life for the better? And I thought the thing Cindy suggested, the one thing in life. And what do you think Palance was talking about in his character? I mean,
when he said the one thing, and once you get it figured out, it's different for everybody.
That's what I was.
Was I right?
Yes. Oh, I don't know if you're right. I'm sorry, Cindy. I
always
acted like I know
validated,
everything. No.
No, you
That's
sound like
my
a teacher
thought.
saying,
Exactly.
yes. Okay,
What
you get
was
an A.
that like? Okay.
No, I think that's what it would be. But going back, it would be pay attention in school. Don't be afraid of the teachers. Be able to go up and say, I don't understand a thing you just said. And be so intimidated by everybody, or me thinking everybody knew more than I did. And I walked out of classes going like, what am I doing here? And I don't think I would have as many nightmares today if I had had that kind of advice to me about being in school and not knowing where my class was and where my locker was, and I didn't do my homework. I think that would help.
It would.
But it would be cool to be able to do that.
It would, and I think maybe, depending on who it came from, it wouldn't do anything to me. Probably, oh, okay, yeah, great. But you're not alone. In other words, I was the same way, except in my case, it really meant, yeah, you are dumber. That you're not following this stuff like other people. Why didn't you know? Didn't you hear the directions, Mark? No, I didn't. And everybody else is doing that kind of stuff. But so many things in life, you're not alone. Wow, you're not the only person who ever thought of that. You're not the only person that ever did that horrible thing or thought that horrible thing.
But I love we would do this to our friends. Somebody will say, and they'd say something really just weird, and we'd all go like, I've never done that. Have you ever? I've never done that, just to make them, like I'm the only one. It makes them really feel sick.
I hate that when you're opening up and it just slays there.
No, I've never experienced that. Something's wrong with you. and further confirmed that there was something wrong with me. But I think that would be a great feeling to be able to interject into little kids, is the confidence of knowing that it's okay. There are other people like this. You're going to have these problems, but to have the empowerment to be able to ask someone the questions and not care if you're going to look stupid, or be able to say what's wrong. Yeah. And there is a school called the Joy School that I just did these interviews with, where I was gone Thursday.
What's their mascot?
A big heart.
A big heart. Very good, Cindy. I was just curious.
But
boom,
yeah,
boom.
It is the coolest school, because what they did was they picked kids out that are suffering from learning disabilities, and this can be ADHD, JK element. I don't know.
Yeah, one of those
so many
acronyms.
one of those that they have, and they they teach every child as an individual. They take them, they make sure that they're teaching them and relating to them where they understand it. And these kids come out of the school with so much advocacy. They know how to go to the teachers. They know how to tell the teachers, I really need help to understand this. And they don't have any fear anymore of learning. And it's just, I'm blown away by the school. I've done this for the last 6 years, where we go each time to do fundraiser videos for them. And they are amazing. And that's what I wish I'd had, because learning was everything, and I didn't know how.
And those things, they sound wonderful, and everybody, all God's children want them. But for a teacher to go one-on-one, it takes so much more money and all. And people say, you can't throw money at education. Well, you can. You can if you can hire more people to do stuff like that. I had 140 kids. I wasn't teaching elementary.
No, right,
but
right.
I talked to a teacher last night at church, and I said, how's it going? She's teaching junior high, and she said, I am in the middle of writing my synopsis, my letter, my evaluation of each student. I said, what are you talking about? I said, I've got 86 students, and I'm supposed to write an thing on each one for the parent to see. I said, boy, did I get out of teaching at the right time. That was bad. By the way, Cindy, speaking of sports, we may have a call from our sports guy.
I hope he's able to, because he works nights, and so he tries to stay up to be able to call in and talk to us. But if he doesn't make it, I was just wanting to talk about the Rockets, because I listened to 2 of their games. The one with LA was so exciting. I'd gone into the store and they were down by 3 or 4, and I came back out. They were blew up in the second.
I only care about basketball when our team is in the finals. Other than that, I don't watch it. Stuff happens so fast, and they're so great. But football, Cindy, it's almost over, and I don't know
what are you going to do?
But Payton Manning, can I say this about Payton Manning? He plays for the Broncos, and they last night beat the team they were playing, and it's going to come to me any minute now, but it's not that important. I wish, when you see Payton Manning, he is pointing at other people, and sometimes he'll call somebody the name. Sometimes he'll say 54, 54, and sometimes he'll say Mike, Mike. And he always starts Omaha, Omaha, and he changes plays. Just once, I wish I could be in, behind the center and say stuff like that and actually knew what I meant. And to be on defense maybe and have him point at me and say, Mark, Mark. Holy cow, I couldn't do anything the next play. Payton Manning said my name here, and I'm the linebacker. That would, oh, man, what a genius this guy is.
Mark, anyway. You wouldn't be able to be awestruck.
I could not be
like that. You'd have to be able to think of him as a regular guy.
Really.
I do have, speaking of regular guys, Chris Christie has been in the news so much. Why did you look like you didn't know who I was talking about?
I thought you were going to do mud wrestling. I really did.
No, we're gonna save that, because that's so, you're gonna have to.
And when I said do mud wrestling, I didn't mean she was going to. But
no. We're going to talk about it. But anyway, Chris Christie's been in the news, and everyone has heard the story and over and over, because of his top aide that was the one, they say, stopped the lanes. Blocked the lanes. Had the lanes blocked, and that caused hours and hours of traffic jam. And Chris Christie said he did nothing about it. This was his top aides, and he doesn't know what happened. He just got the emails that they had written, and he was just shocked, embarrassed, and all that. And so, regardless of whether that's true or not, I don't care. It's the top aides and the stupidity. I know we don't like to use that S word on this, but it's the only way you can describe. The only way you can describe is the stupidity of these top aides who sent an email saying revenge. They were going to get revenge on this mayor of New Jersey or something. It's just the dumbest thing. And so they don't learn the lesson from how many years we've had emails, but how many years of these people put things in writing that comes back to haunt them and bite them and be behind, and that they don't learn anything. They go
away.
No, it's like the arrogance that this will never happen to me, and it's like when Wiener did that. Why didn't he change his name before he went into politics anyway? But he didn't. But when he sent the first 2 or 3 pictures, and then he got caught, Then he does it again. Thinking that,
And
well, this
still
girl
runs for the position of whatever else.
He's thinking, this girl won't tell me, or this girl will not ever
New York City,
expose me. They expose themselves to this, and I'm just shocked at the ignorance of why they would keep doing it.
I don't get it.
What is wrong with them? Now, I understand little kids doing this, and you have to tell teenagers, please don't take pictures of yourself naked, because if you think that person's the only one that's going to see it, you're wrong. They're going to send it to everybody, and to try and make them understand that. But for grown people who are being paid by the tax dollar, and they keep making these stupid mistakes. Anyway, it's not that I want them to learn a way to keep from getting caught. I don't think we're ever going to have a problem with that. They're going to keep being caught and have the receipt to show for it.
You know, speaking of empathy, when I was a child, had we had the internet, these iPhones, maybe I would have known how to use them. And, you know, you said, don't take a picture of yourself naked or whatever. I would think, why? Oh, okay, let me try. I wasn't that stupid, but I was so stupid as a kid. If I had access to as much stuff as they've got access today, I do not know. I'd like to think I'd be for the better, but I wonder about that.
Well, what's starting to aggravate me is the
mud wrestling that's going on in this country.
Not yet.
Okay.
Text messaging. When my phone, I write a word. I mean, text a word on my text, and it changes it. As soon as I hit, the space bar, it then changes the word the way they thought I meant it to be, or I should have.
Oh, you're voice messaging your text message.
Not voice. This is text message. I just text it, and then it tries to correct it, thinking I didn't get the right word and I messed up. So, like the other night, I was telling my daughter-in-law, have a good night and have a good night. Anyway, so whatever I said, good night, and it said, have a good going nuts. Why would it change it to that? There was no word close to what I wanted to say, but that's what it said. And if you don't read that stuff before it sends off, then but that was...
And who reads it?
Yeah, usually you do it, you're hurrying up and doing it, and then you hit it, and when you do the voice text especially the voice text.
You know, if you knew the number of text messages I have sent you and it comes up not sent, or it just goes blank and I go to, did it send? No, it didn't. And I give up because, Cindy, it takes me a long time to text, call me, or what's happening. I'm doing punching and I'm an idiot. But,
I know your thumb that hits 3 letters at one time. But the voice text is good. I mean, that I love it, but it still does the same thing. I try to tell Gary Parker, I wanted to congratulate him on the big deal he had. So I said, congratulations on the big deal. Well, deal didn't come across deal. It was a voice text, and I was driving, and I didn't look down to look at it. It wasn't deal. It was a.
Don't say it.
It was a male part. Anyway, so it was
my
just.
Word, okay.
So to tell him congratulations for his big deal was difficult to have to live down. Anyway, when we come back, we're going to continue.
Technology. I've got a couple of technology things.
Okay.
That we'll just,
but also, we need your
wrestling.
help in this investigation that we're doing to see if it's fake or real that happened here in Conroe. Okay.
Or real.
So
Van Johnson.
Come back, 936-647-3776. Call us. Help us out here.
I don't have to fear that I wanna rock your gypsy soul. Just like...
Hi, I'm Joyce with the Corner Pub in downtown Conroe. We're located at the corner of Simonton and North Main, just across the street from the courthouse. The week starts off Monday with open mic hosted by Alan, and Tuesday nights open mic hosted by Jeremy Bankhead. And on Thursday evening, McFarland Jams. There's nightly drink specials available every night, all night. And don't forget, live entertainment every weekend. To see a full list of events, visit our website at thecornerpubinconroe.com. So come join us at the Corner Pub, where the deli is open late.
Howdy, folks. Cable Smith, host of the Lone Star Outdoor Show, inviting you to join me Saturday mornings from 7 to 8 on Lone Star Internet Radio for Texas' premier hunting, fishing, and outdoor talk show. So pour yourself another cup of coffee and pull up that stool a little closer to the old campfire, because if you can catch it or kill it in Texas, we're going to talk about it. That's right. bucks and ducks, gobblers, monster bass, redfish, trout, and a whole lot more. Plus, you never know what outdoor celebrity is going to drop by, from Phil the Duck Commander Robertson to fishing legend Bill Dance or everybody's favorite uncle Ted Nugent. Heck, we might even mix in an interview and hear some brand spanking new Texas music from one of your favorite Texas musicians like Robert Earl Keen, Brandon Ryder, or the honky-tonk kid himself, Aaron Watson. Loved or hated but never ignored, it's the Lone Star Outdoors Show with me, Cable Smith, Saturday mornings from 7 to 8 right here on Lone Star Internet Radio on irlonestar.com.
Into the best thing.
He did something with Pink Floyd that was just years back that was just so beautiful. But anyway.
Oh man, when our show goes visual viral and we're dancing, on standing on those tables and dancing and stuff,
Cindy's got some moves, people, that I never. Wow.
It's going to be so fun. So anyway, we end. What did you? Don't even. Okay, we ended with Christy. Chris Christie, and we've put him away. And then now we're, hopefully he's okay. We're going to talk about how they're going to fix Congress, how they've decided finally, this is the last straw, what they're going to do to try and get Congress to work together. They are sending in a leading divorce mediator, and he's coming to work with the members of Congress on ending the bickering between the Republicans and the Democrats. And this all makes sense. It makes sense that they would send in a divorce mediator because the top two problems, why people get divorced is communication and money. And so if they could solve that and bring those two together, I don't know though, but as a Republican, if I was the Republicans, I'd ask for a prenup. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I would guess so. And here on the Mark and Cindy Show, that is something we have been concerned with for most of our life. Communication, it's scary, folks.
It is.
And speaking of which, if you have a thought concerning a message you would write yourself to deliver to yourself when you were a child that might help you in life, call in or Facebook us. We would like to get home and look at our Facebook, and there is on the Mark and Cindy Facebook page a bunch of comments about things.
What number would they call? Mark,
here they call the number.
936-647-3776. Good boy.
Kick them in. I actually called that number when I was sick.
Yeah?
And it
and you
worked.
got us, didn't you?
Well, not the first time I was, but the second time.
Well, we have a lot of people standing in line waiting.
Oh, man, it's unbelievable.
You're going to have to, and because, Richard is so discerning and wants to make sure that the right person gets on, he keeps these people, he filters out a lot of those people that might embarrass us in some way.
By the way, that is a joke. Just call in, and I don't care who you are. You'll get put through. And
we've exaggerated a little bit.
Cindy, we were talking about, you know what we were talking about?
Yeah.
Phones and technology and stuff like this and your text messaging. And I did see at the start of this show, I mentioned that I saw some of the items they're introducing at the technology show, and some of them are so neat. They've got like headphones on whatever it is you're listening to, and you put on headphones, you can listen to music or whatever, or you can flip the something on the band up and it goes over your eyes, and all of a sudden your earphones become a television or whatever.
I saw
so
that.
You can be jogging and watching TV and break your... Anyway, it is great. They've got those. And Cindy, I was telling you about this. France has developed a programmable van, a shuttle, if you will. It'll hold 11 people, and you can just put that thing out in traffic, and it will dodge cars, and it will go all the way up to, get this, 13.5 miles an hour. Or was it 11.5? It's slow. They're using it on campuses,
Good
though.
grief.
They program it ahead of time. It'll stop right here and let you in, and then it goes 11.5 miles an hour to whatever building you need to go to. But in the future, Cindy Louise, that's where we're headed.
Ooh, 25-25. Remember the song?
In the year 25-25.
I thought it was 25-25, and that we
probably was.
We didn't need our legs anymore because we weren't going to walk anywhere. And that was thinking, wow, that would be amazing. That's really going to happen. And that song was so creepy to me.
Oh, it was creepy. One more thing, and then we're
off on our
I'd like to get
investigation.
into mud wrestling. Oh, the investigation.
Oh, mud wrestling.
I saw this bowl. It's like a popcorn bowl, and it's hooked up to something. And all you have to do is throw your cell phone, anything that's got a battery in it, except probably a flashlight with a AAA battery or something. And it charges it. You don't have to plug it in. In other words, there's something in this bowl that shoots an electrical impulse, and it's scary that they can do that. The bowl costs something like $4.8 million. No, it doesn't. I don't know how much it costs, but that's where we're going, ladies and gentlemen, in this world. And I don't belong in this.
Well,
I guess
think
I'm
once you come in from outside, and you've got your cell phone on you, and you've got all the things on you that need to be charged, including yourself. And so you come in the door, and you just pass through all this, these electrodes, and they laser and all, and you're all charged up.
That is
Or maybe as you
unbelievable.
walk out the door, you charge yourself up, so you don't have to go all night, 8 hours of charging something. But I can never find my charger, so if they could just do something like that, that would be helpful.
And that's
to
one
me.
reason we're not videoing now. The battery on the camera, it ran out.
That's right. Just as we were starting to do a test run of our GoPro, the battery went out. So
Cindy, we
those
are
things happen.
asking people for something, and I can't.
What
is it?
Well, wait. I do want to tell you that, talking about videotaping this, that we've switched over to YouTube. And if you go to YouTube and just put in the Mark and Cindy Show, you will see, you'll hear all our archive shows. It's very easy to do. And when you put the Mark and Cindy Show, it comes right up. Now, the only competition we have,
get out of here,
is the Mark and Cindy mixed wrestling team that happens. And they have a very, this picture is...
Wait, that's not you guys?
You might mistake that. That's why I want to make sure that the picture that Richard took of us and the new picture that
Cindy,
we have
we
up
can't compete with that.
No, I think they don't say a lot.
Oh, okay.
It's mostly
You
just
actually
the
watched
wrestling.
them?
I did. I
That's
wanted to
pretty
see
funny.
what the. Did you think I was just going to look at that little icon?
How does
picture?
Mark
No.
look? Is he pretty buffed and all?
Well,
do they say that word anymore?
Cindy beats him up pretty bad. Now, see, all we're going to do is drive people to go
That's
see
true.
this part
Watch.
of YouTube.
We've helped them out a bunch.
That's right. But the more videos in the archives we put on, then they will be pushed down further and further down. We're gonna.
Which is tragic.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I
had
they
no
only
long
have like a couple up there anyway. But do go to YouTube and check out our archives of the Mark and Cindy Show. You can Google Mark and Cindy Show, and it'll take you. We're actually Googleized now, so
scary.
it's so exciting.
We better license our name because these wrestling people could steal our
I don't want
name.
them piggybacking.
On our
coattails. Yeah,
Oh, man.
that's right. Okay,
Piggyback on our coattails. That's a pretty good quote.
There is
Can
a
I say
mystery.
just
Oh,
one
okay,
quote
hurry.
before
And
this
I'm gonna-
mystery. She
All
said,
right.
"Piggyback on our coattails." I was watching this Dateline show, and this lady. It's very sad. She was beat up real bad. You couldn't hardly recognize her, and that's sad. But here's what the lady said concerning the lady that was beat up. She said, "If you didn't know who she was, you wouldn't have known who she was."
Wow, that's so
That is deep. If you didn't know who she was, you'd say, "I don't know who she is." Anyway,
Because she was beaten up so bad, she was
And that's a
unrecognizable?
very sad thing. And if you just stopped me and asked me to make a comment, I would have said something that I don't know what that is, but
I think it was a squirrel moment, but it was
Squirrel moment.
okay.
Change
It's okay.
the subject, young
Yes,
lady, too.
Okay. Mystery. I didn't get an email. Sabrina Cochran, my daughter-in-law, said, "Did you
Of the Cochran family of Conroe?
Yes,
Wow.
yes, it
Okay.
is.
They
I
own a
just want to let
clothing
you know,
shop.
she's much
Go
more
ahead.
the Cochran. No, told me. She said, "Did you see The Lone Survivor, the movie?" And I went, "No, I haven't seen it yet." She said, "Well, did you hear what happened at the Grand?" And I said, "No, the Grand Theater that's in Conroe." I said, "What happened?" She said, "Well, Mark Wahlberg posted on his Facebook, thanked the Grand Theater for putting The Lone Survivor on all the screens at one time because so many people wanted to see it." And I went, "What?" She said, "Yeah, I think that's how it went." Now, see, I couldn't tell, though, if it had been told to her, it had been told to somebody and all that. And then I said, "Well, where can I find this?" And she said, "Well, it should be in the newspaper." And she said, "My friend forwarded me the Facebook post that Mark Wahlberg did. Now, the guy who wrote the book lives in Willis, where I live.
Yeah.
It's right.
Marcus Luttrell.
Yeah, it's only like a few miles down the street from Conroe. And Marcus Luttrell had sent, I guess he showed a picture that was on the box office that showed that all the screens were showing Lone Survivor. And then Mark Wahlberg Facebooked thanking all the fans in Conroe for making this happen. So that's what we've heard. I can't find hide nor hair of this, and I looked through the Conroe Courier, and I didn't see anything from that. So I'm going to drive over to the theater after we finish the show and find out if this is fact or fiction.
We would like to validate it.
Yeah, we would. And we thought maybe somebody out there knows for sure what happened and what the deal is, because we want to know. You know, we try to stay right on the edge of those things.
My nephew videoed. He sent me the deal also, the Facebook thing. And the unusual deal is the Grand Theater was never mentioned by either Wahlberg or whoever, but Wahlberg thanked his fans. And you've probably seen the interviews with Mark Luttrell and all. It is, haven't seen the movie, but I plan to.
But Al saw it, and he said it was really good.
I was really disappointed with that.
Were you? You saw it?
No, you already know the ending.
Well, yeah, that's true. And that's one thing Clint said. He said, I know all about what happened, and he's read the book and all of this. And he said, but even knowing that, it was powerful for him. I haven't seen it, but Clint told me one other thing about Mark Luttrell. By the way, I saw one interview, and the guy, the day before all of this happened, he was shot in the back, and he still went on this mission, whatever. And during the mission, he got so many wounds on him and
Still
spine,
survived?
several things. Yeah, and came through it. Unbelievable. But he was so infirmed when he came home, they actually gave him a dog. I don't think it's a pit bull. I don't know what it was, but a dog to, it's a comforting thing for just anybody. And he had it. And he said he was out in the yard, my nephew did, and somebody, just some hoodlums, rode by and shot and killed his dog.
For crying out loud.
And then Luttrell got in his car and chased them down
Good
and called the police.
They didn't know who they had messed with.
And he said, police, you better get them before I do.
Oh,
and the police
man.
did. Anyway, that was interesting.
God.
We have got to take a break, and when we come back, we will have an encouraging word, and we'll tie up anything else, and we'll tell you who is showing up Wednesday on our show. I can't wait.
You're listening to the Mark Hader, Cindy Cochran Show.
I don't have to be ready now while I rock your gypsy soul, just like way back in the day.
Conroe Live is a nonprofit entity whose purpose is for the enhancement of the arts, entertainment, and historical values in historic downtown Conroe. Recent programs include centennial celebrations for several buildings reconstructed after the Great Fire of 1911, the upcoming Historicade celebrating the history of downtown area, an art bench program consisting of 13 art benches depicting history, Chalk Up Conroe, a program benefiting cancer programs using sidewalk chalk, a tree planting program along the railroad tracks along the historical areas in the downtown, and generation of approximately $250,000 for the Owen Theater for improvements. Future projects include downtown historical markers, a pedestrian mall on Simonton Street, walking history programs, and more. For information, visit their website at www.conroeliveinc.org.
Hello, this is Dennis Nelson, inviting you to come with me through the doorway of imagination and into the theater of the mind. The Players Theater Company Old Time Radio Hour presents a play every Saturday night at 7 p.m. on Lone Star Internet Radio. Be it drama or comedy, thriller or love story, every exciting episode is carefully chosen straight from the golden age of radio and performed live by talented actors, musicians, and sound effects crew. Every sound you hear will be 100% live and homemade. Anything can happen. So join us, please, every Saturday night at 7 p.m. for the Players Theater Company Old Time Radio Hour, right here on Lone Star Internet Radio.
And together we will flow into the mystic.
You are listening to the Mark and Cindy Show, being broadcast live out of downtown Conroe, Texas. Anytime you want to walk by and say hi, you can.
Wow. And you know, Cindy, when I get home today, I'm going to get on YouTube and not only look for our show and all. It won't be on today's show. We'll be on a little later. But I'm going to look for Van Morrison. Oh, my gosh, listening to this. Yeah. By the way, speaking of our show and everything, when I was sick, I actually listened to our show, and I have never really paid a great deal of attention to the music that's on before our show and sometimes occasionally after our show. But I listened to this song before the show, and it gave me the thought of today's encouraging word. This song, and Dick, I think the name is Rebel Side, or The Rebel Side of Me or something. And this guy was singing, and he was so negative and angry, and he was, one of his lines, I don't know the exact words, but, and I'm sure it's a great song, people love it and sing it in bars and beat the crap out of it, but he said, they try to come and take my gun away and I'll blow their butts up. That was one part. I don't think he said butts, but he said something. And the other, they're taking my hard-earned money and giving it to people and calling it charity. He was just mad about everything. And I just wanted to say, calm down. And I have tried, and I'm not there by any stretch of the imagination. These two people in this studio right now will tell me this, plus the many people on the crew behind us and all, will say, no, Mark, you are negative about so many things, and I am. What I'm trying to do is get less. And in time, I think maybe I'll get there. At one time, I got so bad with respect to being negative about things that I didn't want to talk to a positive person. You know, I have nothing to say to this guy because he's going to ignore me. And there are people at church that way. The greatest people I know, and I'll start something negative, and they'll just look at me and nod, and I say, okay, Mark, you're Kay's dad, Uncle Ray, the same way. I love the man. He was the greatest listener in the world, but he would not open his mouth. If I started saying something negative, he'd just nod or whatever. I say that the way I get so negative is to focus on me so much, and I do that so much. I'm so concerned about me. And I thought back, I was reading this morning a passage, and I've said it so many times, or several times on this show at the end during encouraging words, and it's something that Christ said when right before, not immediately before, but he was going to die in a week or so, and he's talking to his disciples, and he's trying to explain this to them, but they don't understand. What are you talking about? You're going to die, give your life and all. And he's saying this, and then he comes up and he says this, but my peace I leave with you. My peace I give to you. Not as the world gives do I give it. So let not your heart be troubled, neither let it be afraid. And whenever I think of negativity, I think of the word trouble. Mark, what are you troubled about? Christ was getting ready to be humiliated, beat to pieces, nailed on some pieces of wood, and he's telling people, my peace, I'm leaving with you. I get so upset over politics. I think everyone in here will agree to that, and I always will, and I realize that. But how do I handle myself when I do is the question, and I am going to try to, and maybe it'll help you too, to remember peace. He didn't say, take my peace. He said, I'm giving it to you. Here right. It is,
That's
Mark.
Here's
point. My peace. Take it. And not as the world, the world's looking at peace like, okay, in many cases, let's go blow them up because of whatever reason or get a gun. Patriotism has become more like, do you believe we ought to go blow somebody up or whatever? And that's getting into politics. I don't want to talk about that anymore. But we assume aggression is patriotism, right. And it's not. It's, I don't know, just looking not at yourself so much. And it's been said like well, I'm not even going to say it, the Kennedy quote, but I need to look at others and realize that people are going through weird things in their life also, and look at it through Christ handing. In other words, just kind of occasionally when I get angry, hold my hand out and say, Christ here is saying, here's my peace, Mark, right there. Don't be afraid, he's saying. Don't be troubled, neither let your heart be afraid. Beautiful words if I just take them to mind.
That there's, and I think what we struggle with, everybody struggles with, is the fear of not knowing, the fear of somebody, not liking me, the fear when I walk into a room. And that's what we're talking about, is that, He said you had to die to yourself. That's the hardest concept.
It is
Man
so
has
hard,
to understand what that means, is that let myself go. And when I used to go teach, I would go do these motivational speaking things for teachers when they're doing their in-service, and I knew they didn't want to be there. They wanted to be anywhere else but to have to hear somebody try and motivate them about shut up, you don't teach with us, you don't do what we do. And I said, the thing that I do understand, and I wished my teachers would have done, is they would have left everything that happened to them on the way to school out the door, outside the door before they walked in there, and start over again with me, because I didn't do that. I wasn't your husband who made fun of you. I didn't do that kind of thing. So when you walk in, just leave it all there. It'll be waiting for you when you get there. And that's what I try to tell the teachers. Just unzip it like you're in some kind of sci-fi movie and leave yourself there, then walk in. And then that way you're not having to worry about, you're not going to be hurt and all that stuff. So,
that is something everyone needs, and I believe I need it more than so many. By the way, we do have something to look forward to tremendously, and that is Wednesday. Peggy Miller, this county's own entertainment guru, is going to be here to talk to us about, she's got so much stuff. She's got a background I'm going to tell you some about tomorrow when we have time. Peggy Miller, mark your calendars.
Can't wait to meet Peggy Miller.
That's going to be
That's going to be fun.
This is the Mark and Cindy Show.
It is the Mark and Cindy Show, and you can, if you missed some of the show, you can certainly go to YouTube and do the Mark and Cindy Show and listen to our archive. We will be back here tomorrow. We're here live every day, Monday through Thursday, and then Friday, best of. So have a great day. Enjoy it. It's beautiful outside here in this area. So smile and remember, God loves you.
Mark and Cindy Show. Let's Mark and Cindy on the radio. 10 to 11 a.m.
So what do you think? Would it have been better without Mark? Yeah, that's pretty much what I'm thinking.
Okay, enough of that. By the way, I've got another bag of Orville in the microwave. Anybody interested? Anybody?
Look, tell you what, ignore Mark and check out the next archived episode of the Mark and Cindy Show. You'll laugh, you'll cry.
Your heart will go pity-pat watching Felix, the wonderful cat.
Wait, I just think we dated ourselves. Maybe we should be in the archives.
That
show hasn't been around for decades, but ours will be here whenever you're ready to listen.
Hey everyone, this is Tina, your host from Retro Saturdays. I wanted to invite you to visit the Lone Star Studios here in downtown Conroe, Texas. We're all volunteers here, and we need your help in serving the Montgomery County area. Radio media is a fun field to be in. Lone Star Internet Radio serves Montgomery County with news, current events, local programming, and of course, music. If you are interested in volunteering and sharing your talents in media, go to irlonestar.com and let us hear from you. Lone Star Internet Radio, serving Montgomery County from the heart of downtown Conroe.